But thank you for all joining this morning. I would apologise for the weather, but it's one of those things that I can't influence, unfortunately. So all four junior academy games are off this morning, both home and away. So it's not just Gresley and Swad area, but yeah, pretty much the whole of the Midlands that's been covered by this weather over the last week. So yeah, the plan this morning is just to go through, as I say, 35 minutes of the presentation that I'd normally do at the start of the season, that I've spoken to many of you, obviously, over the last few weeks and the last month or two about the issues that I've had with Gresley Old Hall in terms of the pitches, and that's now the majority of it's been resolved, although we're still working on things kind of medium to longer term. But it's just meant that I had to put this off and a couple of other things until kind of now, and she saw this as a good opportunity with the games off to get to as many people as possible with it and get it recorded. So yeah, just an overview of what to expect for the remaining part of this season, your journey with Gresley Rovers as a player, as a parent as well. You're all muted at the moment, just so there's not any background noise or anything like that. But if you do have any questions as I'm going through anything, there is a chat option on Zoom if you've not used it before. Should be at the top of your screen. It might be at the bottom if you're using a mobile device. Just to type in any questions, and I'll do my best to answer any of those questions at the end, rather than just answer them in between. So if you've got any questions, just pop them in the chat. So yeah, in terms of ourselves at Gresley Rovers, just a bit of a history of the club first. So the club was formed in 1882, so older than Derby County and many other clubs. So currently 142 years old. The Moat Ground has been, well, we've been in the Moat Ground now as a first team since 1909, so a very long time. And we are working on alternatives going forwards, which me and the chairman are actively pursuing with the council, and it's all looking positive. And I can't really say any more than that at the moment. We're having very good discussions with the council in terms of our future and where that lies. So at present, the first team play in the United Counties League Premier Division North, step 5 of the non-league pyramid. And the junior academy was started in 2014 by me, so 10 years ago. And originally we had under 16s that fed into our under 18s and gave us that pathway. I then brought in under 14s and a new under 16s the following season, and then almost filled in the gaps in between there as well. So that we had under 13s all the way up. We did have under 12s at one point. And then COVID hit, and then we kind of went for a less but better quality approach. But I'll go into a bit more in terms of the future later on. But we are looking at kind of working down the age groups again into next season and coming seasons. So the whole purpose of it is to provide a pathway for our first team, to get players playing semi-professional football, if not better than that as well. So, our primary aim is can we get players playing for Gresley Rovers first team? But you have to be realistic with this, and a player's journey may go off on a different tangent, or we will support them through their whole footballing journey, whether it's playing step 5, step 4 with Gresley Rovers or higher, whether it's playing step 5, step 4, maybe even step 6 with another non-league club, or supporting them in whatever way they go in their future pathway. So as you all know, the under 13s to 16s play in the MJPL on a Saturday morning. The under 18s currently play midweek in the Leicestershire Midweek Floodlit Youth League, which predominantly the games are on a Wednesday night, but some are played, the away games are played on a Thursday, and our reserves play in the Central Midlands Premier, which is step 7. So, we're only a couple of divisions behind the first team at the minute. And we made that decision a couple of years ago. So originally the reserves were playing in a reserve league, and it was more or less under 23s. And it was all, for want of a better term, nice football, which we try and play as you understand from what in terms of how we play our football. But we wanted to bridge that gap between our first team and the reserves as well, so that our players can be best prepared for senior football going forwards as well. So we wanted to ensure that our players are well equipped and even better prepared for when they get an opportunity with our first team as well. So our vision as a club to have a non-league academy full of confident young footballers who enjoy playing an exciting brand of football, creating a pathway through to the Gresley Rovers first team. And I mentioned it before in terms of the pathway, but that's our vision and purpose of what we do here at the Junior Academy. Our playing philosophy, and hopefully the players are starting to see this now, I'll give some context behind this as well. So purposeful possession with positive play through the thirds, both as a team and an individual. So when I originally started this 10 years ago, I had players reeling it off to me and they memorized that word for word. What I want them to do, the players, is to understand the meaning of it. So everything that we do at the club has to have a purpose behind it, whether it's playing out from the back, whether it's pressing, whether it's playing through midfield. What's the reason that you're doing it? And that quote at the bottom, making the right decisions at the right time, that's really what we're looking to do. So to have a purpose behind everything. So I always relate this back to if you watch an England game and they play England versus San Marino or someone like that, and the ball gets passed sideways to sideways to sideways across the back and doesn't really go anywhere, doesn't really have a purpose at times. But actually, if they're pressing it sideways to create space or to create an opportunity to play forwards, that's the reason that we're doing it, and that's the reason that we do things within the club as well. So if there's a player, you're not seeing that from your coach, or you just can't quite get that, ask them the question, why are we doing this? What's the purpose of us doing this, so that we can actually enhance our game and improve as individuals and as a team as well. So our beliefs within the club, we have a person before player approach, and this is right down to the individual. So what we have to be realistic with at Gresley is that we are a semi-pro club. So if you go all the way through our journey and go and play for the first team at Gresley one day, it is still semi-professional. So you still are playing part-time. You still have to go out into the world, get a job, learn new skills, on and so forth. So we want to help off the pitch as much as on the pitch as well. So we recognize that, players will go through ups and downs, but also as kids, you'll go through ups and downs as well. So we want to help you through that off pitch as much, because at the end of the day, there are transferable skills from being on the pitch, life skills that you can transfer off the pitch as well. And we want to help as much as that. It's not easy because everyone's different, and there will be bits where, we will try to offer support and it might not work the first time round, but we will be persistent with that in terms of how we're able to support off the pitch as well. The next one, in terms of honesty and respect, that works both ways. We'll be completely transparent and as honest as possible with both yourselves as parents and players as well, and offer that respect to the players. But we'd expect it back from both as well. As I say, it works both ways from a respect point of view. The next one down, it goes without saying, really, but 100% have effort. So be the hardest working team and individual. My challenge to every single age group within Gresley is, can you be harder working than the group above you? So if you're an under 15 at the minute, can you be harder working than the under 16s? If you're an under 16, can you work harder than the 18s? If you're an under 13 that's just started with the club at the minute, can you be harder working than the current under 14s as well? So it goes without saying that, and I'm sure most of you have heard the term before, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. You can be the most talented player on the pitch, but if you're not working hard, then the harder working player is going to get more success on the pitch, more than likely. Be on time for training and matches, again, should really go without saying. And, we do understand, obviously, there are instances where there's traffic, or there's been roadworks or an accident on the way to a game or something like that, and we do accept that completely. But if you could be as prepared as possible, and I'm talking to obviously both the parents and players here, so in terms of preparation before a game, it's really key that from a player's perspective, that you set your kit out the night before, that your boots are ready, your shin pads are ready, and everything's set. So you wake up in the morning, everything's all ready for you, and you don't need to rush around in the morning, because regardless of whether you're then on time, because you've had to rush around, you've got your kit, and you've managed to get to Gresley Old Hall, you've got to an away game on time, mentally you're not prepared because you're flustered, you're a bit stressed because you've been trying to search around for your kit this morning, and you're not mentally prepared for the game. So if you can do that both for training and for matches, then that'd be fantastic. And then all I'd ask from a parent's point of view is, again, from a training and from a matches perspective, if the coaches are asking for the players to arrive at a certain time, if you could arrive 5 minutes earlier than that, then that'd be fantastic as well. And again, I accept it's not always easy to do that, but I particularly have the rule of, if you're on time, you're late. So if you can arrive 5 minutes early, even better. It just maximizes our time with the players. And have a growth mindset. So want to learn. So I'm sure as players through school, you've been spoken to by teachers about having a fixed and a growth mindset. A growth mindset is being open to anything, being open-minded, and really wanting to learn and to be a sponge, really, to take all the information on board and trust what your coaches are trying to coach into you as well. And allow the players to learn from mistakes. We as coaches are there to facilitate and to develop and to improve the players. We're not there to instruct, to command all of the time. We try to use a rule of three. So if we see that a player makes a mistake the first time round, we'll look to see if they've recognized it themselves through body language or through communication, be it non-verbal or verbal. Second time round, if the same mistakes happened, again, we'll see if those signs are there to recognize if they've gone right. Okay, what do I need to change next time to make it better? If it happens a third time, the same sort of mistake, that's when we'll probably step in to go in and coach, to go in and guide, and go in and ask questions to the players so that they can answer it themselves. Because at the end of the day, we have to be aware as well that we can see it different from the sidelines and from height wise as well. Obviously, we're taller than the players from a coach's perspective. We can see it differently from the sidelines as a player can as well. So the picture is completely different. So we need to get an understanding of what they can see as well. But again, that goes from the player's point of view of allow yourselves to make a mistake. Don't be frustrated with it. And it is a learning opportunity to get better. And the final one on this page of our beliefs, sweep the sheds. I say this every single year. And I stole this completely from the All Blacks, the New Zealand rugby union team. This is what they do, and I'm sure you've seen social media videos of other teams and nations, be it rugby, be it football, whatever, of cleaning up the changing rooms or anything else after themselves. So we want to leave our changing rooms, away changing rooms, as spotless as possible, and potentially in a better condition that they were in the first place. So if you're going away, you've got to remember, obviously we're representing Gresley Rovers and we want to leave it in the nicest possible way. And those standards go all the way through the club now. So from first team downwards, that we want to leave it spotless and make sure we're taking responsibility of our kit and our changing room there as well. So the under 13s and 18s youth development principles, so to enhance players' understanding of their surroundings on the pitch, to become comfortable in possession of the ball under pressure. And that's one of the things that we try to do from a training perspective and in a game scenario sometimes as well. So it has slightly changed this season, obviously, with the issues that I've had with Gresley Old Hall, but the under 13s and 14s will play on what is, in some people's opinion, a smaller pitch. It is the right size pitch for an under 13s and under 14s team. But being smaller, it gives challenges to players because they are under pressure, have to make decisions quicker and develop potentially faster because of that as well. So we want to put challenges to the players where they are under pressure a lot on the ball. So when they have got time and less pressure on it, they can make better decisions and it becomes an easier game in that respect as well. Enhanced game understanding through transition play, so that's defense to attack and attack to defense as well. So just to basically ensure that we are reacting to whichever scenario that may be. When we win the ball, can we attack quickly? When we've lost it, can we either win it back quickly or can we defend? And create overloads when in midfield and attacking areas as well. And the interchanging of player positions at the very bottom is kind of a key one across our age groups as well. And as you go up the age groups in terms of starting at under 13s, getting into maybe 15s or 16s, you will predominantly get not a position, but possibly an area of the pitch as well. So whilst we don't try to pigeonhole you, and it may seem, if you come into the club, you've been with us for a few months now from an under 13s perspective, and obviously if you're under 14s, some of the new guys that have joined us as well, you'll be playing a certain position. However, during the season, you may play in different positions just to understand what's going on around you. So if, for example, you're a right back, you may play centre half for a few games, or for part of a few games, or right midfield or right wing, or even in centre midfield, to understand the game around you. So you understand that position. So when you move back to your position, or you might even develop into one of those positions, but if you move back to right back, you understand what's going on around you a little bit more as well. And that's not an easy thing to do, because players will look at it and go, well, I'm a striker, or I'm a wide player, or whatever it may be. And that's where it's our job to kind of give that context, to explain to the players the reasons, again going back to having a purpose, the reasons that we're doing that, so they understand the process and understand what we're trying to do as well. To give you an example, in the second season that I coached our under 16s 9 years ago, I had a centre forward that played for probably 75% of the season in central defence. And he did that so he could understand the movement of opposition strikers and bring that into his game. So the following season, went back up front, was really successful for under 18s, and has gone on to different things with another club now as well. So we do that for a reason. But if the coaches are doing that, there will be a purpose behind it, and they'll be able to explain that as well. Our playing strategy, I may not touch on all of this, but I'll go through it as much as I can. So in terms of attacking, when we've got the ball in possession, playing through the lines as often as possible. So can we penetrate and play through the gaps early on? And we do that so that the opposition aren't set in their shape. Receive to play forwards in any position on the pitch. So can we get our body shape in a position where we can receive the ball, play forwards quickly again? Outnumber opponents in high areas, so support high and wide. So it's really one of the key things that we do in our formation, which I'll touch on later on as well. And control and dictate games through purposeful possession. So I've obviously been through the purposeful possession to a certain extent, but how we do that is what we'll work on the training pitch as well. And be brave in possession without a fear of failure. I've spoken before, obviously, about be willing to make mistakes, but you have to have that, go without that fear of failure, because success, as I'll touch on in a bit as well, is defined in very different ways from a first team to what we do. Defending out of possession, so recover the ball as quickly as possible. Again, that goes without saying, but that's part of our transition. High press as a unit to regain possession in the opposition's half. Limit time and space for opposition, and stay compact in good covering distances if we can't regain the ball quickly. So in terms of that transition, can we win the ball back quickly? If we can't, can we get our shape? Can we stay compact so that we're very difficult to break down? And dictate play even out of possession. So even if we haven't got the ball, can we force the opposition into an area of the pitch that suits us, where we've got lots of bodies? Or if we're pressing high on the pitch, can we slow them centrally? Because the goal is in the middle, and if we're high up the pitch and we've won the ball, we're closer to their goal. So can we dictate play even when we haven't got the ball? So when we do win it back, we're in a very good position to attack. And I mentioned success a second ago. So really learning how to win. So this is where we're very, very different from the first team. And as that quote says, the scoreboard is not the only way to measure success. So our first team priorities are very different to our junior academy priorities. We still have the same things, but they're flipped on the head. So for the first team, it's the 3 points, it's the results, it's going up that league table. At the end of the day, we've got a new first team manager that's been in the last 10 days now, and I'll mention a bit about him later. But the priority for a first team manager at Gresley Rovers is to get 3 points. He's not overly concerned if the left winger is having an absolute shocker of a game and we're winning 4-0, because that's job done. We then focus on, from a first team perspective, the team. So how the team performing, and then the individual after that as well. So you're still working with that left winger who's not having the greatest of games, but it's less of a priority within that moment than the 3 points. And where we flip it on its head completely with the academy is the individual is the most important thing within the development of our academy players. So we're focused on that individual of how can we improve them? What can we do to get them even better than they are now? So, you know, some of the players that you are watching this now, you'll look at this and go, I'm really good. Yes, you are. But can we make you even better? And that's what we want to focus on. Then it's the team performance. So how do we perform as a team? So how well do we play out from the back? How well do we press? How well do we, you know, create overloads in wide areas so that we can attack even better? And then after that, it's the 3 points. And I will be very clear on this, that I am every year with this. You know, in the first couple of years of me doing this, I had a couple of parents come up to me and go, my son's enjoying it, but he doesn't understand, Matt, why you don't want to win football matches. I'll be very clear. I want us to win football matches. Utopia for us in this is we develop the individual, we develop the team performance, and we go and win matches as well. But we do not win a football match to the detriment to those that are higher than it. So we want to focus on the individual's performance, the team performance, and then hopefully the success of the results will come after that as well. And if they're not, trust what we're doing. Again, I've been doing this for long enough now that, you know, I say this at the start of, or I used to when I was coaching the under 15s and 16s as well, is hypothetically in the APL, it's a development league. But if you finish in the bottom 5 or second bottom or whatever it may be, but in 5 years' time, some of you guys are playing for the first team. That's our job done. And that's our focus. You know, as I say, we want to win games, but not to the detriment of the other bits above it as well. And again, just another bit in terms of success. I know we've spoken about learning from mistakes. I know we've spoken about, you know, playing without the fear of failure as well. But 2 key things, and I'm sure a few of you have possibly seen these before as well. But, you know, success doesn't happen in straight lines. It's not a direct route all the way through. There will be bumps in the road. There will be bits where you just drop in form or confidence from a psychological, from a mental point of view as well. And that's where we're here to support. But my ask of you is to, and this is players and parents, is to understand that happens. So there will be a period where players go through dips or they make mistakes. And what I don't want to do is for everyone to think completely short term and go, oh, it's not working now, I'll leave, or it's not working because I'm just not enjoying it. Those bits happen. The key for me is how you react to that and how you come back from that as well. You know, I remember a quote from Jose Mourinho when he first joined Chelsea, probably about 20 odd years ago now. And he said, the only thing that's guaranteed in football ever is at some point you will lose. But the most important thing is how you react to that afterwards. And it's the same with this success. It is guaranteed that you will make a mistake in a game or in training or in something else. But it's how you react to that. And it's how we support you in that as well. You know, as coaches and, you know, in life, we all make mistakes. So we will make mistakes as coaches as well. But the most important thing for us is, can we learn from those? Can we improve? And then see that success from the improvements that we've made. And obviously the same from the player's point of view as well. So it's really important that you take that bit on board and remember that you are going to make mistakes. You are going to fail at points, but it's a great learning opportunity to then progress on and improve. And as I said earlier, get even better at what you're actually doing. So in terms of our formation is predominantly 4-3-3 and can be switched between a midfield, 2 holding midfielders and 1 attacking midfielder, or 1 holding midfielder and 2 attacking midfielders. We predominantly play the 4-3-3, and I say predominantly because it will change during the season a little bit. And the reason for that, you know, I've been asked the question over the years as well, why do you play 4-3-3? Well, the number 1 reason is it's adaptable and it's flexible. You know, it's never one up front. So if the ball's with the number 11, the number 7 can go and support the number 9 so that we're playing 2 up front. The number 10 can support the 9 as well. So you've got 2 in midfield. Then the fullbacks can push on, so that you could almost play a back 3, but when the number 4 would drop in with the 5 and 6 as well. It's a flexible and adaptable formation. So again, we've had it over the season. A coach has come to me and gone, I'm going to change to a back 3 for the next 2 weeks. And the reason I'm doing that is so that the back 3 or the defensive unit can get comfortable on the ball and get used to being on the ball in possession. And they've got that little bit of comfort that if we do lose it, there's 3 of us there to be able to defend, or 5 if the wing backs drop back in as well. And as long as a coach can justify that to me and to the rest of the club, then I've got no problem with that as well. Because again, going back to one of the earlier slides in terms of our philosophy and how we play, it has a purpose behind it. It has a reason behind everything that we do. So again, you'll see that that's the predominant formation that we play, but there will be tweaks as the season goes on as well. So our weekly schedule, I won't touch too much on this because obviously we're some way into the season now, but match day is obviously on a Saturday, as you know. We're looking to engage with the players as much as possible during the week. So there will be obviously your training session at Pingle. And as you know, we do have limited facilities on the pitch from that perspective because, you know, Pingle as a 3G pitch is oversubscribed, and it's part of our move, hopefully, to new facilities when we do eventually get there, that we'll have our own facility for that as well, so we can provide even more on the pitch. Excuse me. But when we are on the pitch, we will look to work in blocks of in possession and out of possession as well. So we may link those together, whether it's in possession, playing out from the back, playing it through midfield, and then in the final third, attacking and finishing, and then out of possession, maybe pressing from the front. How do we cover in midfield? And then can we defend our defensive third of the pitch as well? Off the pitch training. So typically over the season, when weekends like this happen and all the games are off, we would look to do a classroom session at the Moat Ground, which includes analysis, nutrition, pre-match preparation, team building exercises, player reviews, and the player reviews are partly through individual review of the player, but also the parent gets involved in that as well. And I know from the respect of the under-13s, obviously you've started to fill in your forms and give them back to Paul. The 14s, you should have had them this weekend at the home game, but Noah will be able to give those out on Monday, and Noah will be starting that process. And then the other age groups will be the same as well, but those will come through over the next few weeks so that we can start doing those player reviews before or towards the end of this calendar year. But yeah, going back to the second point, looking to engage with the players as much as possible during the week. Over the season, there will be additional sessions that we'll throw in. So there will be a few strength and conditioning sessions that we'll throw into various age groups. There will be a few video analysis sessions, which I'll touch on as well in a second. And there will be various other bits that we'll be able to go through with the players. And the bit at the bottom, as you all know, we use Spond for availability for both matches and training. Really, really important that as parents, if you can confirm as soon as possible on Spond whether your son is available or not for either training or matches. It's one of the most important tools here, regardless of what I've all said. It's one of the most important tools here to make sure that you're confirming on Spond as soon as possible for training and matches. As a coach, I love to know what numbers I've got at training, because then I know what I can work on. And if I've got a few that haven't confirmed on Spond, it's very difficult to work on something that's going to have an impact on the players if I'm not sure of the numbers that are going to be there. Because what it also does is, if I know the numbers that I've got at training, I know more or less what positions they play in, and then I can set up a session around that as well. So it's really important that if you're on Spond, please confirm as soon as possible for training and matches so we can get prepared as coaches as well. So how we support players, I've mentioned in terms of the player review already, but it will that's essentially the form that you'll get if you've not already had it. It will focus on the player's strengths and areas to improve, and focus on the player's needs and the targets for the next review. So the targets will be something that are set in the player review itself when coaches have them with the parents and the players. And the strengths and areas to improve, that's on the form that you get originally for you to confirm, for you to write out areas you think you need to improve on, but also areas that you think, actually, I'm really good at that as well as a player. The coaches will then be able to go through that with you to align to basically so that we know that we feel that you're in a position where we feel you should be, or maybe you need to improve in a few areas, or actually you're ahead of it. So we're going to set even bigger challenges for you going forwards as well, and how you can impact the team, how you can impact your own performance and improve as your Gresley journey goes on. So I mentioned in terms of video analysis, we've got a VO camera, so it records the games, as most of you know, and it gets rotated around our age groups at home. The games go out on WhatsApp as soon as they've been recorded or uploaded, sorry. So they get recorded on a Saturday morning and then get uploaded and usually are ready by, Sunday afternoon, if not Sunday night. So VO, for those of you who don't know, VO is a system that automatically records the ball and the game and then uses AI technology to record it all. Because there's so many across the, I was going to say the country, but across the world now, because it's a Danish company that set this up. Saturday, believe it or not, is the busiest time of the week where games get uploaded. So it does take a little bit longer for the games to come through sometimes, but it's usually on a Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening when the games are uploaded. As soon as that's happened, I will then post the games on WhatsApp, your relevant WhatsApp group, so that obviously you can watch it. And then if the coaches feel necessary, what they're able to do is go into the system so that they can tag players, or rather email addresses. So it would be the parent email address that we have on file for you. We can tag that into a clip to show good improvements in different strengths of your game. May tag more than one individual in it if it's a back four or back five, including a goalkeeper playing out from the back, to show what we've done well, what we could improve on as well. And essentially from there, it's a really good tool that we've had over the last 4 or 5 years that has helped our players see a different picture as well. So you, as I said at the very beginning, you can see something different on the pitch than I can see on the sideline. And if you can see it from almost my point of view of where the camera is, you'll understand what we're talking about, and it drastically improves your game. So again, that's something that the coaches are able to go through, and obviously you're able to see on WhatsApp as well, the full game as well. Additional extras. So over the course of a season, there will be things in terms of club events as the whole club, be it the first team, be it the whole club, whether it's the Gresley girls section, whether it's the ladies, or whether it's a community function that we've got on, where there'll be invites. There's a club event, there's a Christmas fair on the 1st of December, which is being held at the club on a week on Sunday, I think it is, if my dates are right. And there'll be other team bonding sessions that we'll be trying to do over the season for various age groups. Again, that's something where I speak to the coaches and we'll set something up so that the players can socialize a little bit more. It comes back down to that the next point in terms of after match hospitality. Obviously we offer it at home games as well, so that the players can socialize off the pitch. Again, it's not mandatory for away games. Prior to COVID, the MJBL had the rule that it was mandatory and everyone had to provide hospitality. And then during COVID, or just after, when we started to come back, they gave or put a vote out to the league, and I think it was outvoted about 80 something to 56 teams that they didn't want to make it mandatory, which to me was just bizarre, because at the end of the day, I think it's a great tool that we've got there to support the players even more, and they should be refueled after the game as well. So yeah, we still offer it, as you know, and players are obviously welcome to come back after to the Moat Ground after games. Player passes to watch first team home league games. Again, going back to what I said at the beginning in terms of I should have done this at the start of the season because of the issues that I've had with Gresley Old Hall. The first team passes have now been done. Thanks to Weekly. So Kerry has come on board as our junior academy secretary, and she's been a massive support in terms of doing bits like this. So over the course of the next week before next weekend's first team game, those passes will be out to all of the players, so you're able to use those to go and watch first team games, and then players to attend first team and reserve games during the season as a squad, and that will be used as learning opportunities as well. So what we will do over the season is we will invite a particular age group or age groups to a first team game. they will have a form to fill in during that game. So it's not just watching the game, it's watching a person or a player, sorry, in your position, understanding what they're doing, both in and out of possession. So if it's a central defender and the ball's up with the strikers, you're not looking at the strikers, you're looking at what that central defender's doing and thinking of, what if we lose the ball? Is he set? Is he ready to act upon whatever's going to happen next? And analysing that, of going, right, this is what he's done, this is what he could improve on, or this is actually what I'm better, or I feel I'm better than a first teamer at the minute as well, so that you can improve your game. And with the new first team manager, James Jepson, coming in over the last week, after those sorts of games, he'll be able to come out of the changing rooms as well, have a chat with whichever age group or age groups it is, to get some feedback from you as well. Because it works both ways. You know, the respect works both ways, but the feedback works both ways as well. So you'll be able to make notes in terms of obviously a player in your position, but the first team manager will be able to come out and obviously have those conversations with you as well. And that's a great learning opportunity to understand, again, going back to what I was saying earlier, the differences between the 3 points at the first team and our development within the junior academy as well. So final little bit from me, on a match day from the sideline. So you as parents or anyone watching from a sideline, what I'd always say is please encourage, but don't coach from a sideline, because it can contradict the coach's message or the playing philosophy. It may confuse the player. We may have had a player that's standing on the side ready to come on, giving them a specific challenge to do, and a message from anyone standing from a side may impact how they deliver that challenge that we've given them, because it might be, as I say, contradictory to the actual challenge that we've given them as well. Again, it's just trusting what we're doing. If you're unsure, then by all means, please ask your coaches in terms of what we're trying to do. But what I would also say with that as well is, and I've learned this over the years, don't ask them straight after a game, because emotions for everybody after a game, regardless of if this is development football or not, emotions are up there. And it's very difficult to give a cohesive answer, but also ask a question in that manner as well, sometimes when it's either really excited, really frustrated, or whatever. So please encourage from the side. I'll never campaign for what the FA campaigns for sometimes, a silent side, because at the end of the day, going back to the original point of why we do this, we try and get our players playing for our first team. And if they're playing at the moat ground or playing away, there's going to be noise. So they've got to be able to deal with that a little bit, but please don't try and coach them from a side. And again, going back, mistakes are a learning opportunity. So it is really frustrating. And as a parent myself, you look at it sometimes, you think, I want to fix that. I want to do that. I want to help my kid. I get it. I really do get it. But it's a massive learning opportunity to just go in, right, keep stum. The coaches know what they're doing. The player knows what he's doing as well, to be honest. You know, that rule of 3 that I went back to or referred to at the start, 9 times out of 10, after the second time of making that mistake, the player knows. They don't need to be told most of the time. So it's just recognizing that as well. And respect the match officials. You know, I can't emphasize that enough. I would never referee a game of football. I have done it a couple of times, just volunteering, and it's one of the most difficult jobs on that pitch. So please respect the match officials. You know, it's not an easy job. Again, going back to the mistakes thing, they will make mistakes, but we all do. So it's one of those. And the final point, enjoy the games. At the end of the day, it's a game of football. There's more to life sometimes than football. It may not seem it, but there is at times. So just enjoy it. Enjoy your kids' journey throughout Gresley, whether that be a short journey, a long journey, all the way through to the first team, or whatever it may be. You know, some of our players from years ago are now coaching within the club as well. So they may not make it as a player, but they'll understand the philosophy in terms of how we do stuff and how we play. And to see players that I've coached in the past then go on to coaching and bigger and better things outside of us from a coaching perspective as well, it's just brilliant to see. So please, just when you're there on a Saturday, or when you're there at training watching as well, when the weather's a little bit better as well, enjoy the games, enjoy the training, and you won't go far wrong with that, basically. So final thing, just our contact information. Again, I'll send this video out afterwards, so I won't go through it all, but obviously I'm Director of Football and Head of Academy, and my number's there. All of you got it on WhatsApp anyway, and that's my email address. Our welfare officers, So I oversee this as well, but I almost take a step back if there are any issues, because then there's no conflict of interest for me. But we've got Jill from our Gresley girls section, we've got Lauren from our ladies, and Kay, who's one of our directors as well, can be contacted on that email address. So if there are any issues, then you're able to contact them through there. Brian, who's our commercial director, and we've also got Corby McDonald, who works in the commercial side of things as well. So if there are any sponsorship opportunities, if you want to help, we are raising funds for a new minibus at the moment. So if you want to get in touch with Brian, please do on that email address, or I'll pass you his phone number if you want to as well. And we have 2 physios within the club at the moment. So Hugo Gibbs is our under 18s and academy, well, under 18s / reserves physio, who will be starting to come down on Saturdays a little bit more now as well. Jess is our first team physio, but Jess oversees it also. Jess is actually looking to bring in 2 university students who are going to come in as work experience and will support Hugo on a Saturday morning. So they'll be there and in around the club as well. So if anyone's got any injuries or slight goals or anything like that at all, then again, please message me. I'll pass it on to them, and they'll be able to communicate with you when they're around on a Saturday morning, or even to see them on a Saturday afternoon before the games from the reserves or the first team kick-off as well. And then obviously contact your coaches through their numbers on the WhatsApp group. The only other thing that I would add to all of that I've just mentioned there as well, and I'll send it out on WhatsApp later. On a Monday evening, for the last few weeks, there is a new Gresley Rovers radio show on internet radio called Burton Radio, which it begins at 7 o'clock on a Monday evening. Again, you don't have to listen to it then and there. It's on recording, so you can go back and listen to them again. I was on Monday. And I gave a bit of a background in terms of what we do from a junior academy perspective. So if you want to hear any more about what we do, I've given a bit of an explanation on there. But also there's interviews from first team manager, the new first team manager, James Jepson, and his assistant, Mark Goodfellow, who most of you know anyway, because Mark's been with the club through the under 15s and 14s over the last couple of seasons. From a first team perspective, Jeppo is the new gaffer. I've had many conversations with him over the last week in terms of the pathway and how we can get through the right players that have got the right attitude, that are looking to develop. We are not going to guarantee it to anyone, but you to show the right attitude. It goes back to that at the very beginning of 100% effort, 100% hard work all the way through this process to give yourself the best possible chance to develop and improve and go on to bigger and better things. So I've overrun ever so slightly. I thought it was going to be only half an hour, but it turns into about 45 minutes. But thank you for listening this morning. If you've got any questions at all, I don't think there's any in the chat. If you've got any questions, find me a WhatsApp message directly rather than in the group, just because I miss it sometimes in the group. But if you fire at me directly, and if it's a wider question to everyone, I'll drop it in the group afterwards. And have a great day. It looks a bit miserable outside, and I'll see you all through the week at training. So if you go after that, I'll share the recording later on today.